We have a special guest joining us, a proven goal scorer and one of the top talents in the USL Championship. With a former All-League USL selection, a key player in Charleston Battery's Eastern Conference winning squad, and the second youngest player in league history to hit 50 career goals. On the international stage, he proudly represents Sierra Leone, having competed in the 2021 AFCON. We're excited to have him on the show. Augustine Williams, welcome to the show, brother.
Thank you, man. Thank you for having me. What an intro. Appreciate that. Thank you.
Williams, the right foot.
What's up, y'all? Welcome to our YouTube channel, Africans Talk Football. Appreciate your guys' continued support. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you.
Welcome back to another episode of Africans Talk Football, where we bring you fresh soccer news highlighting the Africans and African Americans who have seen success within the sport. We'll also bring you news from our favorite teams within the Premier League, MLS, and WSL, as well as other top European leagues and soccer news worldwide. Whether this is your first episode with us or you've been rocking with us from the jump, again, I just want to say thank you to all of our friends and supporters. Again, my name is Cornelius, and I'm joined by my boys and fellow co-hosts, Mike and Salam, as well as a very, very, very special guest. I'm going to pass it over to Salam so he can do our intro real quick. How you boys feeling?
Feeling good.
Feeling all right. I'm glad we have a special guest with us tonight, so feeling good.
Yeah, man. Before we start the episode, just wanted to wish you, Cornelius, a happy belated birthday. And also shout out to Gabriel for doing his thing and the Cleveland Crunch for clinching their spot in the playoffs. But today, man, we have a special guest joining us, a proven goal scorer and one of the top talents in the USL Championship. With a former All-League USL selection, a key player in Charleston Battery's Eastern Conference winning squad, and the second youngest player in league history to hit 50 career goals. On the international stage, he proudly represents Sierra Leone, having competed in the 2021 AFCON. We're excited to have him on the show. Augustine Williams, welcome to the show, brother.
Thank you, man. Thank you for having me. Thank you. What an intro.
Yeah, man. I had to get you right for me. You
had to.
Gotta give you your flowers, man.
Absolutely.
Appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah, so just want to start off first and foremost by saying congrats on the win last night. Massive 3 points at home against the Birmingham Legion. That's 2 home wins to start the season. So kind of want to start there. What have been your takeaways from that game, especially, tonight's game and the first game, and how do you carry that into the team's momentum?
Yeah, I think it's a great feeling just to, come off on another win. That's a back-to-back win now for us. We're trying to build up momentum. For me as a striker, I'm trying to adapt to a new system, different style of play. But the feeling, obviously, to win, there's no better feeling than that. So the more we keep winning, the more confidence we have. And then playing against Birmingham, their team, they have talented guys there, but we were able to, hold them for the full 90 minutes. And obviously, as you see, it wasn't an easy game for us, but we were just happy to come off with 3 points. And obviously, we can keep building up on that and obviously moving forward.
No, I definitely hear that. You've recently joined the Riverhounds. So how's the transition been? Thus far, obviously you guys are winning, so it must be all right a little bit, to ease your way into the team. But, both on and off the pitch, what's the transition been like, and what stood out to you about, the city of Pittsburgh and the club itself?
I mean, for me, it's just I knew I was going into an environment that was different. I didn't think it would be that different where I have to change who I've been all these years as a striker. I go from being a high guy to now the coach want me to drop and be more connected to the team. So all of that is me embracing that. And obviously, new city, it's cold over there. It's
we're from the Midwest. We definitely understand.
Yeah. And I've been in the East Coast for the past 3 years now. So for me, I just embraced, everything that it came with, and I just try to use it to make myself and obviously the team be successful. And I think I've been on the right path. I'm still trying to adapt. Obviously, it's a brand new season where I'm understanding guys' weakness. They're understanding my strength and my weakness, and I'm applying all of those tools to be able to be successful individually and collectively.
No, definitely. I mean, you're already starting to see. I feel like your guys' chemistry is getting better and better from week to week.
Right.
I mean, you were all over the place yesterday. I watched the game yesterday. I even saw you pick up a camera yesterday. So,
I forgot. The only thing I forgot to do was take a picture when I picked it up. Put it back down.
Yeah. No, man. But let's get into your early life, man. What was your introduction to the game, and what sparked your passion for football?
My father, he used to play. Unfortunately, he didn't have the opportunity as I did, growing up in Sierra Leone. And he would always take me, they had the Sunday league thing with the Africans. I would go there. I always wanted to play with them. Some days he didn't let me. Some days he would let me. Obviously, it came to a point where, I was just leaving the house. I'll come back home. My mom will, why did you leave the house? I told you not to leave the house. Beat me up, locked me up in the room, and I to the windows. So it was a passion where I was like, I knew I had to fight just to make sure I was happy doing what I wanted to do. And it was a dream that wasn't easy to, like I said, accomplish. But at the end of the day, my family realized this is what I was really passionate about. My mother was leaning more to the medical field. And I was like, oh, that's not, I know I respect what they do, but that was just not my calling. So for me, my father, and obviously moving to the States, I wanted to join a local team. And then from there, I just kept striving for more. It all changed when I decided to make that leap of faith to move to San Diego. And obviously, I knew I was moving to a whole different environment, and obviously one season. And it completely just changed my life. Where I had the opportunity to go to Portland, an opportunity, and I knew that I was in a weird situation where I had to make the choice to physically go to college or sign this contract. And the goal was to go to college, obviously, to go pro, and obviously venture another career. But I knew this was the path, that I couldn't turn down, and I knew that I can go online as well to go to college. So I asked. And that from there, everything just changed after that.
That's a great segue into my next question. I'm glad that you brought that up because, obviously moving to the U.S. is a huge transition culturally.
Wow.
So, what was that experience like for you in Hayward, California? And how would you say your upbringing in Africa and playing in Africa helped you come, when you were here in the States?
I think it just helped me in the sense where it didn't matter where I was. It's my dream. So, obviously it was way more difficult moving to an environment where, I didn't know the culture. I didn't know the language at the time. I had my accent. So a lot of people kind of look at me differently, but I knew that, it's a universal game. It doesn't matter where you're at, and do your thing. And at the end of the day, you can blend in as time goes on. I think that's what happened with me, where I went from, not understanding the culture to trying to work hard to be able to adapt, and all of those kind of just came together. And then obviously from there, it just kept going forward. And I knew that if I can do the extra work and all of this stuff, I knew that my dream and the vision that I had would come true.
Yeah, I'll say before I pass it off to Mike, I just wanted you to kind of expand on the situation when you had the opportunity to go to college and then you had the professional contract in front of you. What led to that, and kind of what was your mindset in going into that?
Well, it was one of those where I come from a family. My mom, she's really big on school. So she wanted to make sure that I go down the pathway. Obviously, she understood as well that this dream was very important to me. And one of the reasons why I really appreciate what she did for me, that she didn't block the blessings that she knew or the gifts that I have. For me, when I took that leap of faith to move to San Diego at the age of 17, I had just graduated out of high school. I was looking forward to what was going to be my next step. Obviously, I wanted to go to school and I wanted to go down that pathway. But I said, let me take that leap of faith and go to San Diego and just take 1 year off. And just try to play in the DA Academy. I went there and I was one of the highest goal scorers in the country, became part of the starting 11 in the country as an academy kid. So I don't know what would have happened if I never took, that route. But at the end of the day, me after that, and I was thinking about, okay, what next? You know, I've done all of this stuff. What's next? And then next thing you know, Kei Kamara reached out to me and said, there's this guy who represents me as an agent. He really likes you. He would like to speak to you. Obviously, I get on the phone with him. I don't know what his plan was. And he told me that Portland Timbers reached out about you. You know, do you have an agent? I was like, no, I don't have an agent. And I was like, what are they saying? They want you to come in and you know, they want to see you in person, you know. And at that time, it was a little bit weird because I was like, okay, what if I go there and then now I don't make it? You know, that little part of me that's saying that, okay, I'm going into an environment, it's stronger guys, faster guys. What if I don't make it? Now, you know, this is the only chance I had, but I knew that I wanted to go down that pathway, and I knew it was either that or nothing else. So I went there, and then 3 days later, there's a contract in front of me. I didn't even want to read it before I signed it. And I think when I had the opportunity, I spoke to my mother about it. I was like, look, this is a lifetime opportunity I can take. You know, I can still go to college. I can still do online, even if I can't physically go. And then we sat, we talked, and then she was able to understand that both can work hand in hand. And then obviously it just went on from there.
Mike, before you go, sorry, I just wanted to I just want to say, Salam, that was a great question, because I feel like, you know, as Africans, we always know that education comes first. You know, education usually is the one thing that our parents see as a way out and up, you know, to a better life and a better future, which in most times it is. Right. But at the same time, you understood the gift that you had, and you understood I might have to take this risk. But what I do like that you said is, you know, I had a plan. I'm going to go out there for 1 year. I just graduated high school. I talked to my mom. We talked about alternatives like online options. And I feel like for a lot of African kids who might be in that space right now, that's super cool to hear, because we always know internally that we might have to take that chance and, you know, talk to your mom, who's been your mom for 18 years of life. Like, hey, Ma, I know I'm not saying you wrong, but I think I might be right, you know. It's really cool to hear that, and hear that you guys actually had a formulated plan, and she, you know, was on your team in that aspect. So that's super dope to hear.
And that's one of the reasons, like I said, I really appreciate that she did that for me. You know, like I said, my mom, she's in the medical field. My entire family is in the medical field. So, and at some point, she came to a realization that, okay, that might be what I want for him. That's not what he wants for himself, you know. That's why she was able to just hear me out. And being the last one moving out first, it was even crazier. Like, you're the youngest one, and then you were the first one to move out. But she was willing to understand, and my father as well was willing to understand. And obviously, they said, if you think that's the path that you want to go ahead. You know, if you don't go and make it, just know there's a home for you to come back to. So that's really what helped me out.
That's interesting to hear all of that. Honestly. So I want to touch back on Portland. So as a young player signing that contract at that age, what impact do you think it had on your career so far?
I think it helped me to get into an environment, obviously, and I was going in there. Caleb Porter, you know, was a coach who believed in me, and I think that helped me out a lot in terms of going in there. You know, when I got there, at first I was nervous, but then I was like, I'm already here. You know. Obviously, there's guys that's just as fast, just as physical, just as strong as me. I don't know if you guys know Fernando Adi. He was there.
Oh, yeah.
Darlington Nagby, those guys, you know, helped me out a lot. You know, one of the coolest guys I've ever met in terms of like just conversation. You know, you're here, you know, embrace it, you know. You know, and it's like it's an opportunity where a lot of people don't get to experience, you know. And I think all of that helped me out a lot in terms of, okay, it's ball. Let's play ball. You know, just be happy doing what you do, and let everything else take care of itself. Control what you can, and everything that's outside of your control, just let it naturally happen.
So after being with the Portland, you returned back to LA. You know, with the LA Galaxy. What did that period of your career? What did that teach you? What would you say you learned the most in that period of your career?
I think I talk about this every day. I think it was one of those decisions when LA Galaxy came. I was like, this is the biggest franchise in the history of MLS, you know?
Right.
Get way. I wasn't looking at it from a perspective where I'm like, I'm going into one of the biggest teams that's known to sign big strikers. You know, I got there and I'm seeing Jonathan Dos Santos. I'm like, oh, like snap. And then obviously he left. Then Zlatan came in the picture. I'm like, oh, wow, this is even crazy now. And he leaves, and then Chicharito comes in the picture.
Yeah.
So I think for me, it was one of those phases in my career where it didn't matter what I did. You know, and in the U.S. system is a little bit different than being in Europe. It's more so if you're making big money, you have to play. You know what I mean? It's not like when you're in Europe, you're making, let's say, $500K a week, and you're not performing, you don't play. So I think for me in those phases, I was bound by a contract where I had to, you know, go down that pathway. And then this couple of times, obviously, I wanted to be free, but I couldn't. But at the end of the day, I learned, you know, with Chicharito, I learned my movement in the box, you know. So I cannot really say it was. There's no positive in there, but for 3 years, I don't know how my career could have went. But I'm the type of guy who believes that, you know, everything that I go through, it was already ordained for me to go through that pathway. So there's nothing really about it. But I did learn a lot, you know, in terms of being in the box, my movement, and I think that's really helped me, especially Chicharito, my movement in the box. That's really helped me why I've been successful so much, especially in the USL.
So did you get a chance to all these names that you just named? Did you get a chance to interact with them on the practice field? Okay,
they are. I even got a chance to play with them. You know,
I didn't get
as much chance as I wanted to. You know, because some of those guys, for them to come off, you're gonna have to drag them off the field. You know?
I mean,
if you substitute Zlatan, he's just gonna
he's getting mad.
The whole organization, you know. So me, I just have to be patient. You know, when I got my opportunity, I got the opportunity, you know, to be able to play with the biggest franchise in the history. You know, but it wasn't as much as I wanted to. But at the end of the day, like I said, I took that, and obviously the experience that I got, and I was able to apply that in the USL, and that's what helped me so far in terms of my career.
Last question before, you know, somebody else takes over. Did you what about something about Zlatan that, you know, you didn't know that, you know, being on the field with him, you were like, okay, this guy's different?
Yeah, I think for me, it gives you that mindset as a striker, because whenever I go into a game, center backs are looking to dominate you, you know. And I'm that type of guy who's like, I'm a nice guy. I come in, I want to be friends, but then I realized that there's certain defenders who just comes to destroy you. So he had that mentality where it's like he says it to you that he's better than you, like in your face. It's not like showing it just in the game, and then he also showed you to you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So there's days when he come in and cuss out the whole organization, from the coach to the kit man to everybody. But at the end of the day, he's Zlatan. You know, there's not really much you can say to him for the accomplishment he has had in his career, played in the highest level. You know what I mean? Yeah. So at that moment, you just have to just take it in. You're like, it is what it is. You know what I mean? But I think with those, but then you get to understand as well, like as myself, I apply that, okay, going into a battle zone, I have to be dominant. You know, if I'm not dominant, I'm going to get dominated. You know what I mean? So I go with the mindset of like, yeah, I'm here. Let's play. You think you're gonna outwork me? I'm gonna outwork you as well. So I think that's what I can say. I learned.
That's a good answer.
No, that it's perfect into the segue, because you moved from the LA Galaxy to Charleston in 2022. You know, you end up becoming the second youngest player to reach 50 goals in USL history, which is an incredible milestone in itself.
On August 12th, I remember. That was my birthday. I just had I just so random. I remember thinking like, oh man, like I remember watching this goal because we had some stuff going on. We had some downtime, and I happened to put on the game, and I saw that you scored. And they had said on the commentary that he was the second youngest player to score 50 goals, and I just remember that it was just a special day for both of us.
Crazy topic. I was also born in August. That's the crazy part.
Oh yeah,
my dog. So it's funny because like the question I have written down is, as a striker, what's your mindset in front of goal? Are there specific habits or techniques that you focus on this in those decisive moments. So it's funny hearing you say from Zlatan, you kind of have that conquer mentality. Like, I'm here to dominate you as a center back. From, you're learning that movement, from, Chicharito and how he used to play. So, what, as a striker, how do you, go into the game, and what techniques do you think that set you apart from others?
I think from early on, I was able to understand my strength and my weaknesses. I'm not a striker who can, shoot from 40 yards and score. That's not part of my strength. I would have loved if I had one of those, maybe I could pull it off, but on a consistent basis, it's not really part of my strength. So I realized my strength was in the box. So I realized that means I have to be smart the way how I move to lose defenders, because it's always crowded in the box with around. So I just know that if I'm getting the service that I need, based off my movement, and I know that I'm always going to be able to lose defenders. You know what I mean? Especially in this league, I'm able to move quite efficient, and I think that's been my success rate. And obviously, after I make my move and I score, I always have something to say, not to get into his head now. Next time, call me when I'm trying to make my move. It's just part of the game. You know what I mean? Yeah. So after that, we can become friends. If you don't want to become friends, I'm fine with that. But at the end of the day, I make sure that I was able to be successful over the players, and obviously for the team, and I think that's all those when I put those components together, and I think it has worked. For me, it doesn't work every time in the game, because obviously I'm a human being. Sometimes I go in the game with a mindset, but it doesn't relate to or they have like a successful day more than the team, more than me. So I think all of those, I just use those and apply that in the next game, or, obviously making sure I keep getting better and better every game.
For sure.
You brought up the word efficient, and I feel like that's a perfect word to describe at least for me, your transition from when I started watching you at Portland. I feel like you started off as a winger, and then you transitioned into the central role. So as a striker, you had a standout season, that 2023 season. You led Charleston in goals, 16 goals. You became the club's first double-digit scorer since 2018. What clicked for you that season, and how are you able to take your game to that next level?
I think it had to do more so with the environment, with the coach. As a striker, I always say that it's moments. You know what I mean? Sometimes you start off a season, maybe you don't score five games, then you go to the 6th, you score a brace. Then it just comes naturally. So I had a coach who believed in me. He's not a coach who's more so like aggressive. You know what I mean? Like, really, he was a coach who he's very family oriented. He knows how to get the best out of the players, and I think that helped me out a lot, especially when I came from LA. I wanted to build back my career. It helped me out a lot in terms of the belief they had in me, and then the organization believed in me. The team was built around me, and I think that helped me out a lot. And then when you have that support behind you, you want to be able to give back, and the only way you can give back as a striker is scoring goals and helping the team win in any way that you can, which I was able to do while I was in South Carolina.
Right on. All right. Well, in your second season, Charleston, you and the team carried that momentum and went on to the Eastern Conference final, and you ended up clinching the title. What were some of the factors that led to success for the team, both for you as an individual and the team as a collective?
I think we realized that from the get-go we had an advantage playing at home, especially how the season turned out. Obviously, Pittsburgh ended up coming first in the regular season, but then they get knocked out by Detroit, like the first round. So that puts us in a position to be able to play at home. And obviously, after we got that first win, we were like excited. We wanted to make sure that we don't have to travel to go away. So we kept winning. Obviously, the fans were behind us, buzzing us. We had that belief system. And obviously, when you get into, especially how it's organized here, it's one and done, So we were not willing to go home, and we wanted to make sure that we were able to use other team weaknesses, use our strength, and obviously I applied that. I mean, I do want to say it kind of haunts me that we never really executed the mission fully and to lose in penalties.
Right.
It was, but it is what it is. It's part of the game. Some things are bound to go the way how it went. But I think all of those, when you put those together, supports the coach, supports or the fans, the organization, the teammates, and I think that's what really helped us to be able to achieve what we achieved in 2023.
So you brought up, obviously you guys fell short, unfortunately, of your team goal, which was going all the way. What stood out to you from that game, and like what do you think was ultimately the difference? I believe it went down to penalties, but like what to you was the difference of the game?
I think it was just about closing it out. When you score, when you're up 1-0 in a late moment like that, you want to be able to close it out. And I think that's one of the things that we didn't close out. They were looking for that other goal. They were not. And in that year, if you watch that league or the season, you will notice that Phoenix it's like a wounded lion. They were not going to give up. Even if it felt like there was knife, they were going to keep going. They did it in Orange County, down and come back. They did it all in the road. So for them to come at our home, we knew that they were not going to give up. And I think when we were up 1-0, I think it was like the 70-something minute, 88th minute. That's the moment we should have closed it out. And obviously, fortunately, we were not able to close it out, and they scored on a set piece on us, and going into penalty, and then sometimes it goes your way, sometimes it doesn't go your way.
Right. So just to kind of close out on the U.S. and before I hand it off to Mike, we talk about Sierra Leone. The USL Championship continues to grow every year. And so from your perspective as a player, how do you see the league evolving over the next few seasons?
I think it's going to be great, especially them bringing in Division One. I don't know how is that going to work, because that's going to be the first time having two Division One in the same country.
Yeah.
In terms of MLS and USL Division One, I don't know how that's going to work. So, but it also highlights how far the league has come. You know what I mean? Because if you look back when it started, it is nowhere where it's at today, and I think that's the growth that it's showing. And coming in the 2026 World Cup, it's going to highlight, that light on the U.S. soccer and all that stuff. So I think in terms of like where it's been, it's way more competitive than it is now. You have players from Brazil, you have players from Portugal, all over the world league. So it has brought a lot of, growth, and then obviously it keeps growing. There's still more for the league to grow, but I think it's a beautiful phase. Obviously, I'm healthy enough to be playing, because I think it's in 2 years. That's when they bring in the Division One.
Yeah.
And the relegation is coming as well, so I can't wait to see how that unfolds. It's a beautiful feeling to be able to see that and see that growth.
All right.
Sorry, Mike, to interrupt you, but this just came to me. Obviously, like the relegation coming to the U.S. is a big talking point, and this came to me now. What are your thoughts on that? On like the relegation system?
I like it. I do like that, the fact, because it makes the competition even stronger. I just wouldn't be able to see LA Galaxy come in and go play in Loudoun if they get relegated.
Remember, we talked about that. We
We literally,
You know what I mean? It will be crazy for a franchise like that. So I don't know if the Division One and the MLS is going to compete against each other. I don't know how that's the people who organize that and run it, how it's going to go. But I think in terms of like the Division One championship and then the USL League One, I think it's going to bring that competitiveness among, each other, like a team like Louisville getting promoted to Division One, or like Tampa Bay, or if they bring in, because Pittsburgh is one of the cities as well, that they can have a Division One franchise. So I think that's going to, help the growth of the soccer. I really don't know. I'm really optimistic about it and seeing how that unfolds. It can either go good or it can go bad. But my hope is for it to go good, because if we don't go good, that's a lot of investments being made. That's going to affect some certain people that have invested their money.
Yeah, true. So I'm going to take it back to Sierra Leone. So you leave at a very young age. You get this great opportunity to later on, represent your country. How does it feel to have a full circle moment like that, wearing the jersey of your country and representing your country?
It's a beautiful feeling. I think it's the greatest pride you can have, just to be able to represent where you're from in front of the world, in front of thousands of people. You know, it's a different feeling that you can't even explain. Not even money. It's able to, you go there not to play for the money. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just an honor to be able to represent and say, okay, my country is at this stage, or it's better, or we competed and we did this. If you look at the AFCON, you know, for the first time in the history, making it to the quarterfinals, you know, that's something that's never been done. And to be part of that, you know, it was an amazing feeling. Obviously, we came short, and we wanted to be there the following tournament, but unfortunately, we weren't able to. But like I said, it's an honor to be able to travel to different countries, different culture, experience different. You know, when I went to Morocco for the first time, I was blown away. I was like, these Africans than what I'm used to.
Facts.
You get to understand, and you get to see that. And when you play, when you get to see guys like Mahrez and see them in AFCON, you know, play against them, it's a beautiful feeling, you know, because that's the highest stage in football, you know, to be able to represent your national team. There's no better feeling than that, to be honest.
So a few weeks ago, if you're not, I'm sure you heard this. Jimmy Carragher was talking about, you know, AFCON, downplaying AFCON as a big competition.
Right.
Thoughts on that? How do you feel for somebody who was there in the competition and representing your country, hearing a comment like that? How does it make you feel?
I mean, for me, I would say, first of all, that's his opinion. He's entitled to it. I don't have to accept what he says. I don't have to believe in it, because in my own opinion, the only tournament that comes close to the AFCON is the World Cup, literally. You know, whether it comes to budget, it's the highest, you know, budgeting tournament in the world, you know, and you can see people from all over the world, from Europe. You see the last AFCON, there was a whole dancing trend.
Yeah.
That we all from there that people didn't even know what they were dancing to, but we were dancing to. You know? So I think it's the way he was putting it. It was downplaying it. But obviously, like when you have legends like Samuel Eto'o, Didier Drogba, you know, who has played in those tournaments and have done so much in Europe as well, for him to come out and say that, it's disrespectful to the continent, you know.
Yeah.
But I think, again, you know, sometimes we allow them to disrespect us that much. True. That's why they're so free. Because whenever we say things about them, you know, they always come together and like go against us. But sometimes us Africans, when they say that, we kind of like back them. Well, he's saying the truth. You know what I mean? Like, like that's not the reality. And like I said, he's entitled to his opinion. If that's what he believes, that's what he believes. But this fact shows it. You know, the number shows it. So at the end of the day, like I said, that's his opinion. So that's just all I can say on that.
All right.
I guess expand on like the experience of like the competition, because, and we talk about this too. You know, some of the African players that we see doing big things on, you know, these big teams, when they go to AFCON, they're still effective by any means. I'm not saying that, you know, that they're not effective by any means, but you can tell that the gap in talent level is not very far. So can you kind of expand on just like what the competition is like?
I think it's different, you know. I think if you were to merge European teams in the AFCON, it will be very difficult because you're playing against the weather. You're playing obviously in some of these are not the greatest condition, you know. When you go and see guys like Mahrez have like one of the cleanest touches, see him in the AFCON, he's not able to, the ball is bouncing all over the place. Right. So it's a different type of ball game where, you know, sometimes like the physicality, some of them are not able to play under it, especially the North Africans. Because when it comes to West Africans, you know, they already come up naturally strong. You know what I mean? We used to say in Sierra Leone, ball pass, man don't pass. With the ball pass,
But
I think the competition is great. You know, in terms of like, there is no expectations in the AFCON. That's the beautiful thing about it. Anybody can win it. You know what I mean? It's not like when you're watching the Euros and you're like, France might win it all. You know what I mean? You don't know who might. You know, you don't really know who's gonna make it.
Exactly.
When you see, we thought based on what Morocco did in the World Cup.
The AFCON again.
You know what I mean? They get eliminated from the AFCON. So it's a it's a different ball game. It's harder to play. I think physically, defenders are in terms of physicality, I think, in my opinion, they're stronger. Whether it be in terms of like using their smart to be strong, or you just have those aggressive defenders who are just going to come to literally just take you out. Like I said, the competition is really tough. It was an experience for me that I'll forever take with me, just to be part of that. See different Africans from different cultures, different backgrounds, different ethnicities. I think it was a great experience for me. And obviously, like I said, it was a beautiful tournament. There's no better feeling than that. Just to see fans and dancing, there's smokes everywhere. It's like a whole party going on, and there's a whole match going on at the same time. So it was great. It was a great experience.
Okay, so looking at the future of Sierra Leonean football, what do you think needs to be done to have the Sierra Leonean national team competing consistently at a higher level?
I mean, not just Sierra Leone. I think in most African countries, if I put it in West African, I think it's the organization. And I think that's what the Europe surpasses a little bit. They're more organized, they're more professionalism. Whereas we bring politics into football, and it just messes with the whole thing. There's always that one guy who feels like, what if I just cut on some of the budget? And then but at the end of the day, like I said, in terms of like the professionalism, the timely manner, if you see like teams like Togo, where Adebayo, where they have to sleep at the airport, does not shed good light on the continent. And I think that's where the North Africans surpasses just a little bit. They're more organized, they're more, I think if those little tiny things can be, put together, I think the continent, even one of the countries, has a higher chance of winning the World Cup. Honestly, there's so much talent players, whether they were raised in Europe and Africa or wherever. There's so much talent. You've seen from the past, Didier Drogba, Samuel Eto'o. Those were generational talents. But at the end of the day, I think that's what we struggle with a lot: the professionalism, the organization, some of those things that if that can be fixed, I think in terms of like competing in a higher level, or even making sure everything is set in the right way, I think very, very beneficial.
Yeah, I'm glad you said that, because I think a few months ago I was having some I didn't have some good feelings about the way the Ghana national team was going, and the fact that you said all the African teams, this applies to all of us, really. Every team that you look at, there's some form of unprofessionalism, politics, playing into it. And I think if we can get that out of our game and just keep it professional, and just who needs to play is the one playing, and the guys that don't need to be playing are not playing, I think it'll help us a lot.
Right.
But even Samuel Eto'o said it before the World Cup, the last World Cup. He said an African team can win it, and everybody laughed. And then Morocco made it to the semifinals, and it got everybody's attention. But yeah, before I pass it on, I wanted to ask you: are there any young Sierra Leoneans football players coming up that everybody should keep an eye on?
Yeah, there's few. I think his name is Malachi, that plays for Kansas.
Malachi.
Yeah. Unfortunately, he just had a knee injury. He's one of the players. If you look at from my own country, because that's why I can highlight more so on. You have guys that his name is Hindolo, who plays in England as well. So I think there's obviously there's some other guys who are born in Europe. They kind of have that hesitant to come play for Sierra Leone because of what they're used to. It's not what they're coming to. When you transition up to a national team, especially in Africa, it's like you're in a whole different world, like a whole different talent. You know what I mean? Whatever you see, you should take at that point. So I think some of those plays, and obviously when you look at outside as well, other countries, you get to see that they're raising a lot of talented footballers. So I think
we just got to bridge the gap of the guys born outside and the national team. And if we can get guys going back at least to play for the motherland, the teams where they're really from. I think that will also improve the game over there.
Right. I mean, I think they do want to go. I think it's just like I said earlier.
Yeah, there's a gap.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, if you're sleeping if you're coming playing, like let's say for example you're playing in Manchester City, because we have one of the center backs who's signed for Manchester City and he's on loan, and he comes to Sierra Leone and he has to sleep at the airport.
Yeah.
Those are some things when you come back and then they ask you don't even want to say.
Yeah.
Just the for your country's integrity and things like that.
Sure. All right.
I've had my own share, but I can retell myself.
No, I completely understand.
That's good. No, I love that perspective. Lastly, before we get into rapid fire questions, man, your first season with the Pittsburgh Riverhounds, what could you tell the supporters of the club, like what to expect from you guys, from you going into this season?
I mean, I think for me, so far, I think I'm first of all, I'm adapting to a new system, like I said earlier, so I don't try to put a lot of pressure to come in and prove myself. And the beauty of a striker, like I said, sometimes things don't kick off fast, but then they end up kicking. You strike, like for an example, Kylian Mbappe,
Yeah.
Everybody went from calling him a flop. Well, not everybody.
Yeah.
Went from calling him a flop.
Right.
Yeah.
Now the guy's equalizing Cristiano Ronaldo, being a striker, you know what I mean? But for me, I only try to control what I can. Like I say, it's a beautiful environment. The coach is known to have won Best Defensive Coach of the Year back to back. So he's pretty solid in the back, and it's not a place where you score lots of goals. You know what I mean? It's hard to break down. So. And obviously, like I said, it's a new team, new system, new. It's just been 4 games, and unfortunately, it hasn't really. I don't want to say hasn't, but I'm the type of guy who's really goal driven. If I could, I would every game, literally. But unfortunately, that's not the reality of being a striker. Some games you go, you don't score. Some games, but I think it's just about moments, and then once that momentum comes, and when the striker is on fire, it's really on fire.
I hear that, man. Let's get into some rapid fire questions, man. First one, are you a music guy? And if so, what's on your game day playlist?
I am. I can't even go a day without listening to music. My father used to listen to reggae a lot, so I like reggae music. But more so on game days, I would listen to like motivational speeches before my game day. You guys know Eric Thomas. You know Eric Thomas?
Yeah, Eric Thomas. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Would get me in the mood that I need.
Game mode, okay.
Yeah,
I like that.
I don't like to listen to too much like rah stuff like Future and them. I listen when I don't have a game. You know what I mean?
Okay.
But I try to just keep it level and just focus on things that's just.
I think this is a first for us.
Yeah, I was
this
gonna
is
say
a first.
Yeah. I don't like to listen to too much stuff. I just like to keep it level with it and making sure everything I'm listening is positive.
Okay.
So I keep my mind positive on the game, and then put that Eric Thomas in towards the end.
Yeah.
And I'm
Oh man,
what a guy, though. He gets you really riled up.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
No, I like that. You're definitely the first person to say, typically, we get, and to each his own. And shout out to all the guys that we've interviewed and them sharing what's on their playlist. But I really like yours. That's really inspirational.
Yeah.
What are your top 3 favorite players of all time? Who are?
I would have to say the guy who I really like as a kid, Thierry Henry. Yeah, and obviously I like Didier Drogba as well. And then what a guy, Suarez, man. What a guy.
Wow. Suarez. I didn't expect that one.
Don't talk to Mike about Suarez.
I love the fight in him. Like this guy who fight as a defender, whatever he do, he did it all. So
Yeah.
But yeah.
No,
and obviously the modern days now when you have Haaland, you have all these other strikers as well.
Yeah. I would have love your Suarez pick until 2010, that changed everything, that World Cup, man, I can't let it go. But Was it? Yeah, 2010, right? Yeah, 2010.
Yeah.
Oh, you're talking about the one with the handball?
With that-
You gotta let that one go.
yeah, that one, I can't let it go, man. I can't.
Still a sore subject.
But you had the chance to make it up on a PK.
Exactly.
That's the
Exactly.
whole thing.
You know what's
That's the
funny?
whole thing.
You know, I'm glad that you brought that up because no one brings up the opportunity.
You was given the opportunity was given to you.
Yeah, it's just the handball. But that's hilarious. Just hearing you speak in other interviews before, you talked about how influential Kei Kamara was to you in your career. Kind of expand on that and just how he has helped you in your career.
I mean, from the beginning, obviously, once I started coming to the league, I knew him from afar. We weren't close, but I knew what he was doing in the league. And then for me to just come in, and then he embraced me the way he did. And then I was able to speak to him. Like, he helped me in terms of like getting connected with the agent. I think that helped me out a lot. I've always told him this to teach me how he heads the ball like that.
Yeah.
Guy doesn't want to teach me. He just said, I got you. He's not teaching me how.
Yeah.
But, like the success that he's had so far, it's a highlight of what he's done. Unfortunately, he's a free agent right now. I really want him to get back so he can really break that record, Wondolowski record. So they can have
the Columbus crew could use him right now.
They could use him, but I don't think they don't. That's the thing about the U.S. American soccer. They don't want to pay a guy who's older, even based on what he's done, and they're not going to pay him less because then it will come off as a disrespect for what he's done.
Exactly.
So they just be like, all right, you're on your own. Like that type of stuff. But like I said, it's been knowing him from afar. He helped me out a lot in terms of especially when I got into Sierra Leone. People were kind of categorizing me more as an American. I left at a very young age, but he was able to help me, adapt in the city, what to look out for, all this stuff. So I think that helped me out a lot.
Nice. All right.
Like that. What hobbies or passions have you pursued outside of soccer?
I like going on hiking when I was in Portland. I think I picked that up a little bit. It's kind of weird for a black man to be saying that.
But the views out there, man.
Portland's different, though. Portland's different.
Yeah, I would go on hiking. These days, I just like to stay indoor, man. A lot of crazy stuff going outside in the world. So if I don't go outside, I don't find no trouble. If I'm inside, maybe there's less chance of me getting in. You know what I mean? But in terms of other hobbies, I kind of go with the flow. If I like it, I like it. If I don't like it, like, I just don't try to be part of it, especially if it's taking me away from what I need to do, which is my soccer stuff. But I try to keep it simple. I go there and bowling, the movies with the guys and stuff like that. But other than that, and I see my girlfriend, who makes me spend a lot of money when we go out.
Shout out to the girlfriend, man. Keeping you on your toes, man. Keeping you on your toes. If you could create a 5-a-side team of your favorite teammates, who's making the squad? And you're the coach.
My teammates?
Yeah. All-time teammates you've ever
guys you've played with.
Oh, all time. Okay. All time. 5-a-side.
5-a-side. So you need a keeper, 4 field players. You're the coach.
I'm trying to figure out who I should put as a goalkeeper right now.
Who's the best keeper you've played with so far?
Or who's going to help you win this 5-a-side tournament?
I think I could start from up. I'm not going to put myself in. I just take myself out of it. In terms of a striker, I really love Chicharito's movement. I'll put him there. I would have as a center back. I haven't really played against him, so I can't really call him. But in terms of like when I played with Ridgewell back in Portland Timbers, he's from England. Very strong. I would also Darlington Nagby for sure. We can get out of
big man.
Any given time.
Shout out.
Yeah, what a guy, man. So
his patience on the ball is crazy.
That's 3. One more, I think I would pick Jonathan dos Santos.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
What a midfielder.
And
I'm trying to figure out the goalkeeper. Do we have goalkeeper in there or no?
Yeah, one goalkeeper.
You need one goalkeeper. You don't have one. Unless you want to put Chicharito or Jonathan,
Nah, he's gonna be licking goals if he's in there. I think he played in the championship. His name is Jonathan. I can show you. He's from England. I think I played with him in the LA Galaxy. Great. Okay. Yeah, you might know Jonathan Bond. Right now he plays for Watford.
Okay.
Yeah, this guy.
Oh, okay.
I was with him at LA Galaxy, and I put him back there.
Okay.
All right.
Shout out to Jonathan Bond. That's a solid team.
Yeah.
You're the coach. That's a solid team. I'm gonna put all these teams together. We're gonna do like
we're gonna
So, who do you have a Premier League team?
I do. Arsenal, man.
Oh boy, here we go.
We should have known. We should have.
Now
I should have known.
Now we can have a conversation.
Are you Arsenal fan? Oh, you're not Arsenal. You got the Chelsea. Oh, you have the Manchester.
Yeah, I'm Chelsea. I'm Chelsea.
Yeah.
His brother is an Arsenal fan.
Yeah, we have one more guy that usually comes on, but you know, he's
I mean, I got that just because my father is a really huge, but I feel like I'm starting to get fed up with that team, man.
Thank you for your honesty, man.
Every year is the same thing, man. Like, I don't know.
So, like, where have you? I mean, this is like a very good period for Arsenal, relatively speaking. Kind of, what have been your thoughts on like this current season? Kind of, obviously, Liverpool's ahead, but what are your thoughts?
I just think just like every other team, like if you want to win, you have to get, the players, like big players. And I think one of the areas where they need to invest in is striker, get one of the top, strikers in the world. You could even put Osimhen in there, you can put like other strikers in there. I think that's something that needs to be done, because Harvard obviously is a striker and obviously Jesus as well. But you want to have like Madrid, you have Manchester that have prolific strikers. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. That's what I don't know if Arteta is like a Pep Guardiola kind of guy for me. I want to see something else, because you can blame it on the injuries, but at the end of the day, I thought this year was going to be our year, and then Liverpool comes out of nowhere and just
yeah.
But other than that, I think that's how I would say. I think invest in this summer window on a striker.
Yeah, you guys are close, man. I see.
You have the defense. You have Saliba.
Yeah,
we have the defense.
Yeah. It seems like the striker is the only missing piece. You get that striker, I think it's different. You have a different result. I believe that. I think that's the only thing.
I think Arteta needs to play Thomas Partey as well. I don't know why he kind of leave the guy out a lot.
Yeah.
Right. I think it is. Maybe he goes more with the rich guys or whatnot.
Nah, I mean, we could. Some of us on this call have questioned Arteta a lot, so I'm just gonna leave it right there. Cornelius, do you want to do the last two?
Yeah, well, I'll do one because we always do this one. But as a West African, who would you say has the best jollof rice? What country?
Senegal.
Look at him. No way.
Senegal.
I was gonna throw in Sierra Leone, but that would not be factual.
Okay. Respect. Hey, respect the honesty.
Okay.
I lived in Senegal, so I lived in Senegal before I moved to.
Okay.
Yeah, so I've tried. But also, I would have to say again, it depends who's making it. You know what I mean?
True.
It depends who's making it, because you could have somebody who's from Nigeria and then get somebody who's from Sierra Leone and then they know how to make a better jollof rice.
Yeah.
But I don't know where they're getting this competition from, when they do the rating from. I really don't know. But I need to go to one of the contests so I can try some of the food.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. I agree.
Yeah, Senegal jollof, I think it's very underrated, but like it's there. I mean, I think they're the originator of jollof rice.
They are.
Yeah.
Is that right, Mike?
Yeah.
Is that right, Mike? Okay.
They just
hey, man.
bragging rights. That's all.
No,
the Ghana one just hits different. I don't know, man. It just hits different. Ghana jollof. Hey, always, man.
I always go to Liberia. I gotta gas the home country every time.
I've never had Liberian jollof. I've had Ghanaian jollof. I've had Senegalese jollof. Senegalese jollof was the first jollof I had. I've never had Nigerian jollof.
Oh, you don't have to.
You don't. You're all right. All right. So the last couple here, I would say, what aspects of your upbringing have helped you, as a professional? Would you say,
like from my family?
Yeah, just from your upbringing, being an African, your family, just growing up. Looking back now as a professional, what aspects from your childhood, your upbringing, your family have shaped you as a professional?
I think it's just me as a Black man, obviously from a young, my father, was able to teach me about my emotions, especially on the field, and how I conduct myself, because obviously it's different when we react to certain things when other people react to it. And obviously, I think the humility that, they instill in me, the faith in God, I think all of those has been able to help me in terms of my success. I think when I put all of those together, it helps me a lot, because sometimes it's hard dealing with certain people in this industry. But I think when you're able to put all of those together, I think it can help you a lot, especially as a Black man.
Right.
Absolutely.
I want to ask you one more thing about Pittsburgh. I visited last summer. I like the city a lot. What do you like to do in Pittsburgh?
I haven't done anything yet, because it's you're driving up hills every day, man. It's flat, like surface to drive on. So, man, and it's
a lot of bridges.
Yeah, a lot of bridges, a lot of hills and stuff like that. It's like I'm assuming those people check their brake every month or something like that.
True.
But other than that, it's very diverse. It's different areas. It lives more so in the city.
Okay. Do you have a favorite food spot?
Nah, not yet. But I did find that they have an Ethiopian food place. I'm more like an African food, you know what I mean?
Okay.
I don't try to eat too much of like all of these American. I keep it where I'm from. That's what I know. So, but yeah, I mean, in terms of like the city-wide, is we getting the cold is going away.
Yeah,
we have, and that's the most exciting part. And I've heard summer is beautiful down there.
Yeah,
I'm looking forward to that as well.
All right.
No, it's a nice city, man. I've been there a few times. I used to coach youth soccer, and we used to play against the Riverhounds Academy a lot. So
okay, Desi Banks was there. You guys know Desi Banks, right?
Yeah.
Desi Banks.
He was there the other day talking about, when are you guys gonna rebuild this city? Why is it so old? And I didn't even know it was like that. But then I the other day, I was like, he is right.
Yeah, he is right.
No, he is.
Yeah,
that's funny. That's funny. The last one here. What's one piece of advice that you've received throughout your career that stuck with you?
I think it's just for me to be able to believe in myself. I think that's what I struggled with a lot as a kid. I didn't believe in myself, and I let people opinions about me used to get to me, especially as a kid, and what they said. I try to translate that into my reality as a kid. But I think that's what helped me out a lot. And obviously, being a person who just respect people, doesn't matter the background, the culture, where you're from, be able to respect people, and obviously where they're from. You don't have to agree with some of the belief system that they have, but to be able to respect it. I think that the human side, I think when you translate that into my career, I think that has helped me a lot. But in terms of the belief system, I think that would be the really top for me, to be able to gain that belief system in myself. And I think that's how I approach games. That's how I approach training and all that stuff.
I like
Very
it.
underrated, man. But believe in yourself is very important.
Yeah, it's huge. It's huge.
It's very important.
Yeah.
Because you're the first one that, tells yourself, hey, I can do it.
I
And
agree.
if you actually believe that, nothing anyone says can deter that. So
right.
That's a good advice. Yep.
Yeah. Especially if you're putting in the work, man.
Yeah.
Like you are. But man, listen, bro, just really can't thank you enough for, spending an hour with us, talking about your career, your upbringing, your journey, and for what's to come, man. So we've been following you for a very long time, man. Like I said, we're very appreciative of you taking the time to speak with us. We wish you nothing but continued success this season and beyond. And yo, we got to talk about when we're gonna link up and head down there.
Yeah, we're trying to come to the game, man.
We're in
We're in Ohio, yeah. So I'm in Cleveland.
I'm in Columbus.
Yeah, it's a quick trip.
We'll figure it out, man. We'll figure it out. But we definitely want to come up and see you guys play, support you, man, and we'll figure it out, and we'll touch base then. But
absolutely.
But like I said, bro, appreciate you for coming on, man. Definitely can't thank you enough, my brother. Thank you.
Thank you guys for having me, man. Thank you so much.
I appreciate it.